northern Africa. As we all know, the continent was fertile. People lived along the east coast, which is now known as South Africa. And in the continent, there were many chiefdoms. What are the examples of chiefdoms found in the continent? Mats, Zulu, Mtetwa, yes, and Kumalo, Mut, Twandwe. Okay, Kumida is going to take you for political and social organization of the continent.
Hello and how are you? My name is Kwekwe. I am going to talk about the social organization of the First of all, social refers to how people interacted and communicated in their communities. So the Nguni was not a tribe decided to move south, but it was a group of families who were going together and were later given the collective name Nguni. The relationship system of the Nguni people was basically patrilineal, meaning that relationship through males was more significant. Than relationship through females. They were unified more linguistically than any large-scale connection. These people spoke one language, but their language had different dialects. These people, the society was based on age arrangements. Each and every few years, youth of about the same age grouped in an age arrangement, which was taken care of by a Nguna. This Nguna was chosen for his military ability. These age arrangements, the new age arrangement was straight into it. Their houses were made, the compound was made up of 1,000 huts, and the mother of the house, the hut of the mother of the house was built on the center. This was to show how significant the mother of the house was. Their huts were also built in a semicircle facing the east. These people, the economy, now we are moving on to the economy organization of the Nguni state. First of all, economy refers to wealth, how these people got their wealth and what they refer to as wealth. Cattle was the basic economic activity of the Nguni people. Access to land and access to cattle was closely related to community identity. This was because it was cattle that enabled people to pay the dollar, to make sacrifices to ancestors. From cattle, they got milk and hides, which they used as clothes. These people, raiding was also considered an economic activity because it was said to be profitable. From raiding, they got cattle and people who they used as laborers. These people went in the fields and also went in the cultivation. These people, they were hunters and gatherers. There is division of labor when it comes to hunting and gathering because men were hunters and women were gatherers. Not each and every man was allowed to hunt, but those who had acquired the skills of hunting were allowed to hunt. This was because they wanted to avoid incidents when it comes to hunting. Because if you were not trained, you might hunt animals that are not eatable and people would die. The same also applied to women. These people were involved in crop production. They cultivated millet, sorghum, and cocoa. From these cereals, they got carbohydrates, which helping the body building of a person. So they always had a balanced diet. They also fished fish, and from fish they got proteins. These proteins help them in fighting diseases. Because these people had a balanced diet, their children now survived to adulthood, and death rates were decreasing day by day. So later on, from trading, these people got maize. Maize was a South American crop that they traded with the Portuguese. Later on, tobacco was cultivated mainly for medicines and for smoking. That was the basic activities of the economy of the Nguni. The chief was regarded as an epitome of wealth by the subjects because he was the one who owned a large herd of cattle. Now I am going to political organization. Chieftainship was hereditary. The chief was the military, judicial, and religious leader. He was the one who made the final judgment in court cases, and he was also the head in religious ceremonies. And Duna, it should be noted that a Duna was way more important than a chief because a chief was hereditary and a Duna was chosen for his military ability. But the Duna did not show people that he was more powerful than the chief because if he did that, the chief would be bullied by other subjects.
I'm sure you've looked at the Uniland and you've actually looked at the social organization and so on. But there is a historical phenomenon that we must actually understand when we are dealing with the Uniland. It was a period that was known as Mfetlane. Right, have you ever come across or have you ever encountered the word Mfetlane? Have you encountered the word Mfetlane? Yes?
It means it's time of trouble.
Right, she is correct. She is saying she has encountered the word Mfetlane and its meaning is the time of trouble. Right, this was actually a time of trouble. That was actually a time of crashing and so on. Right, it was a Nguni word which means time of trouble. So we want to identify the causes of the Mfetlane. What was really the cause of the Mfetlane, because it was triggered by a number of factors. So when we are dealing with Mfetlane, we are supposed to know that it was a time of trouble, a time that was characterized by plunder and destruction. It was also associated with forced migration and the groups that were actually absorbed, the groups that were defeated, were forced to move away. And in the process, they were raiding other groups and so on. That was known as Mfetlane. Meaning to say, the Mfetlane created an unbearable situation, a time that was actually chaotic, and the individuals the inhabitants were living in fear of the unknown and so on. So I'm going to hand over this time to the presenter who is going to take us through, and he will be explaining about the causes of the Mfetrane. The presenter, can you come and present the causes of the Mfetrane, the factors that led to Mfetrane?
Which can be seen or described as a series of wars and migrations from northern Uniland into other parts of the southern Africa. So I'm going to talk about the causes of the revolution that took place in Uniland can be explained by both internal and external pressure. The whole population competed for arable land to farm on and to raise their domestic animals. Pastures and hunting grounds were also fiercely contested shortage of natural resources as well. This is often caused by two factors. Firstly, a drought that prolongs itself can lead to serious shortages. Secondly, a rapid growing of human and animal population can lead to serious shortages. So by the end of the 18th century, there was an imbalance between population density and resources. When people face problems, the general thing to do is to deliberate as a group and come up with sustainable and fruitful solutions. However, this didn't happen in Uniland. So a rapid growing of human and animal population led to excessive tillage, overstocking, soil erosion, and general environmental degradation. Both these phenomena took place between 1795 and 1820. It became difficult as a result to find land outside the region. The drought which affected southern Africa at that time was called the mandatory drought. The social political order of the day was incapable of solution. The chiefdoms failed to deal with their challenges and this resulted to war. It is also believed that the influence of white men had a role to play in the changes that occurred in the Uniland. However, there is no credible evidence for this. It is also believed that early European historians such as Guy may have invented this theory to claim credit for what happened in the Uniland. When catastrophic phenomena such as volcano and drought and earthquakes, it is okay. The general thing to do is to deliberate as I think that's all.
Next presenter, please come forward and present.
Morning class. Today I'm going to present on Shaka's military reforms. So Shaka introduced the Scotch Guard policy. This policy introduced it in order to be victorious to the enemy. We also introduced the short stabbing spear called the arsenal. If this spear was not to be thrown, but it was used to stab the enemy from a short distance. We also introduced the cowboy formation. It was said that young soldiers were supposed to form the front and the brave soldiers were supposed to be on the middle. Shaka also enforced this rule that soldiers should not wear sandals because the sandals are made of wood and then the wood would reduce the pace of the soldiers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next presentation is coming from Godi, who is going to present on evolution of mankind. Godi, can you come up front and do your presentation?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Abdul. I'm going to be talking to you today about the origins of humankind. Through the ages, we as a species have wondered where we have come from. The greatest scientists and philosophers have asked this question. Through advancements in technology and through searching, we have come up with two theories of human evolution. first theory is the biblical theory. In this theory, it said that we were made from God in His own image. And God first made Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve became the mother and father of all nations. That their sons begot more sons. And it resulted in the population of the human race. But this theory is not proven scientifically because it doesn't have any archaeological evidence. It is only found in written records and tablets. The second theory is the scientific theory. This theory was put forward by Charles Darwin. This theory is said that the human race came from a small species of animals called apes. It is believed that apes lived over 900,000 years ago. This theory, I'm going to explain 4 stages of evolution. The first we have the Australopithecus. In this stage, people were small animals, very, very small animals. Like sometimes we walk upright, and most people walk on 4 legs. These animals do not have the need for tools. They were small-minded creatures. The second stage is the Homo habilis. In this stage, men truly started to think. This is the stage where people think men started to communicate, started to invent language. Then we have the Homo sapien. The Homo sapien believe that they lived over 100,000 years ago. These people, they hunted, they gathered, they used tools, they fully utilized their environment. Then we have the Homo sapiens sapien. The Homo sapiens sapien is the modern man of today. I am an example of the Homo sapiens sapien, as all of you are. We are found all over the world, from Cape to Cairo, and to India to Malawi, everywhere. We started to drop out in the early Stone Age too, the late Iron Age, and so on to the present day. We've advanced through some inventions, plane, inventions of cars, and so on. This is the evolution of humankind. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much for your presentation. We are also going to look at another topic, the Scramble and partition of Southern Africa. The Scramble of Africa. Right, I'm sure we know that Africa became the colony of European countries. In other words, we are saying some African territories and African countries were colonized by European powers, but they scrambled for Africa. So we want to know the definition, the meaning of the word scramble. Right, scramble, we are talking about a sudden rush for colonies. Right, so the European powers rushed for Africa because they wanted to take control of some mineral resources and so on. So there are a number of factors that triggered the scramble and the partition of Africa. When we are talking about partition, we are now talking about the division of Africa among themselves. And they did it at the Berlin Conference, and they partitioned Africa amongst themselves. So I just want to go through some causes of the scramble and partition. So we have economic, political, and social factors. So economically, the whites were in need of raw materials which were needed to expand their industries, and they were also in need of markets for their finished products. Right, another economic factor, they also wanted to exploit our resources such as ivory, minerals, and so on. And these were required in Europe because Europe was at the peak of what we call industrialization. Right, social factors, we have the need to support the progress and spread of the gospel. Meaning to say they wanted to promote the Christian way, they wanted to spread the gospel and so on, and because of that, they colonized Africa. Right? We also have political factors. I'm going to explain only one. They also wanted to enhance their prestige. It was also colonized for prestigious reasons. In other words, we are talking about the need by European powers to enhance their status, because the acquisition of colonies during that time was regarded as a sign or a sign of power. And because of that, they rise for Africa in order to enhance their prestige. Thank you very much. I'm going to leave this time to another presenter.
Economic activities of the Nguniland. People of Nguniland practice crop cultivation. They grow crops like watermelons, maize, sorghum, to mention but a few. They used these crops to pay tribute to the king. Also, they practiced weaving. Weaving was mainly done by women, and men, they did hunting. They hunted animals like elephant for ivory. Also, pottery making. Pottery making was done by women. Pottery was used for brewing beer for ceremonies and to store water. Blacksmithing was done only by men, and they smelted iron for tools like bows, spears which they used in wars. Hunting and gathering. Hunting was mainly done by men, and gathering was mainly done by women. There was specialization of labor in the Nguniland. Tribute payment was done to show loyalty to the king, and people of the Nguniland paid gold, grains, and cattle to the king. Mining, people of the Nguniland mined gold, copper, also ivory. Also gold was used for trade in the Nguniland. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, afternoon everyone.
Afternoon, sir.
Today we want to talk about sources of history. Now, when the people are surviving on earth, they need to have something about themselves recorded. The books of history that we have were written by humans like us, but how did they come about having the information they wrote in those books? So the issue is about sources of history. Sources of history. From your own reading, what are the sources of history? Where do you get the people's history from? Yes?
Oral tradition.
Oral tradition. That's one. Another source besides oral tradition. Yes? Archaeology. How do you spell it? Is that the correct one? Okay. Yes? Written records. What's the other one? Another source of history. Yes, in the back? Rock paintings. Thank you. Rock paintings. Now we want to look at each of these separately. We'll start with oral tradition. Anyone to tell us what oral tradition is about? What is oral tradition about? Yes?
It is the passing on of historical information from one generation to another.
Thank you. Let us clap hands for him. The passing of historical information from one generation to the next by way of mouth. Now, when that is done, we are bound to have a certain type of history which has got both advantages and disadvantages. Now, in your notebooks, can you write all these? Then, under each of these subheadings, you will go and research on the advantages and disadvantages of these sources of history. Then we would like some of you to present now. Who will volunteer to present on the advantages of oral tradition in our next meeting? Yes, at the back, you will do the advantages. Who is going to take the disadvantages? Yes, Moisha, thank you. Then for archaeology, can we have someone taking both advantages and disadvantages of that? right? You will do it for us, then written records are to be taken back. Thank you for volunteering. The last one. Who is to take the last one? Yes, my good friend here is going to look at rock paintings. So thank you for listening. We'll meet in the next lesson when we draw presentations on this. Thank you.
Today we want to talk about an interesting topic. We want to talk about our occupation, the occupation of Zimbabwe. So let's write something in occupation of Zimbabwe. Okay, we are going to start by defining what is meant by the term occupation. The term occupation, it refers to attacking. So we are saying that our country Zimbabwe, it was taken. Who took Zimbabwe? It was a man who was known as Cecil John Rhodes. He was known as Cecil Johnson Rhodes. So let's write something in Cecil John Rhodes. Cecil John Rhodes. So what are we saying about this guy known as Cecil Johnson Rhodes? We see that this guy, he came to Africa when he was 17 years old. He had a lung problem. So his doctors, they to tell him, if you don't want to die, come to Africa. Why in Africa? It is because in Africa there was clean and warm atmosphere. So Johnson came to Africa. So when he came to Africa, he started to stay with his brother. He had at a place which was known as Natal. He was a cotton grower. So Johnson, when he came, he started to stay with his brother. In 1868-69, diamonds were discovered at Kimberley. He joined, and when he joined, he became one of the richest diamond owners. He now wanted to use his resources to occupy Africa from Cape to Cairo. You can see the dream of CJR, Cecil Johnson Rhodes, occupying the whole of Africa. Cape, they are talking about South Africa. Cairo, the capital city of Egypt. So it meant that he wanted to take the whole of Africa. So you should also inspire by the dream of Cecil Johnson Rhodes. So this man, he was the person who was responsible for the occupation of what? Zimbabwe. So what did he do so that he could occupy Zimbabwe? He had to sign what was known as the Moffat Treaty. He had to send another John Smith Moffat, to sign the Moffat Treaty in February 1888. Later on, he had to send Rochford Maguire, Francis Thompson, and also Charles Rudd to go and negotiate another agreement. So this later on resulted in the Rudd Concession. It was the Rudd Concession that eventually paved way for the occupation of Zimbabwe. Lobengula, our Blasolo Bengula from Zimbabwe, he had to sign, he had to grant the whites exclusive mineral rights and to do whatever they deemed necessary. That on its own paved way for the colonization of Zimbabwe. This is what we have on the colonization of Zimbabwe. Thank you.